You can easily improve your customer service with one easy tip: communication. If you improve your communication with customers, your quality of service will instantly get better. That's easier said than done, but creating an efficient system can help you get started. Check out this tutorial on how to build a simple communication hub to effortlessly manage things like tickets and form submissions. Check this out. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Zach Stevenson. I'm a business process and no-code consultant. If you need help streamlining or automating any of your business processes, you can visit our website, interdevsolutions.com, or you can click the link in the description below to book a free consult. To get started, we are going to navigate to SmartSuite. There's a link in the description below if you do not have an account already. Once you open up SmartSuite, we can go add a new solution, and we're going to start from scratch here. Once it opens, name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it customer service, add your colors and solution icon, whatever. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these fields that already exist. So I can just start by right clicking and deleting each of them. Now I'm going to duplicate two of these tables. One of them, I'm just going to name employees, and I'm going to duplicate this again, and I will name it interactions. And this one I can just rename simply to tickets. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a status, and we can just leave these as the default statuses for the time being. There is a full name field, but we are also going to be working with Fillout, and it does not integrate yet with the full name field type. So we're simply going to add a text field. I'll just call this first name. Then once I add the field, I'll go in, duplicate it, and rename to last name. We can add things like email, we can add phone number, and we can add the address. In SmartSuite, there is an address field type, and I'll just select single line for now, and we can get that added. A few more data points on the tickets table that we may want is things like a type, which is a single select. I can rename it here to a type. We can have things like general, billing, and technical. We will also want to receive a description or a message, because what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a form, add it to our website, so that when customers have an issue or problem, a question, anything like that, and go onto the website and submit a form that gets into the system. And then that way your customer service can assign the task to whoever it needs to go to. So if you're a physical services provider, like a HVAC or electrical or plumbing, something like that, you could assign a task to a technician that needs to go out to perform some service. If you're online based and it's just a simple question or a billing issue, then you can assign it to accounting, those types of things. So we do need to get a description of what the problem is. One other thing we may want to add is a date field, and we will just call this a date resolved, so that we're aware when the problem has been completed and fixed. So basically when we can close out the ticket. I will rename this to ticket ID, and I'll keep it really simple. I'll just bring in the first name, last name, and the created date, and that can be our ticket ID. A couple of other things we're going to do is we will want to link these tickets to an employee. So that's going to be the phase where we assign an employee to the ticket. And we also want to link to interaction. So any communication that has occurred based on this ticket. So I can just right click here, add a field, type in link, select the linked record, and I will simply select an employee, and I'll add that as a field, and I'll right click, again, select link record, go down to interactions, and I will add that field as well. Now, that's the tickets table that we've got set up. We can go across now to the employees and get this set up as well. In this case, we can actually use the full name field type and bring that in. We'll bring in the employee email, bring in the employee phone number, and we will go to the fields to display and bring in tickets that have been assigned to them. And the last thing I'm going to do is just change this to employee ID. Again, I'll make it an auto-generated field. I will bring in the full name of the employee, and just for the sake of things, we'll bring in the auto number as well. So I'm going to add a few names and a few email addresses just for test data, and we will carry on. Now that I've got some employees added in there, one thing I realized I did miss is I will add another single select field, and I'll just call this department. So that way, if you do have a bigger organization, the person assigning tasks can easily identify who needs to be assigned to what type of ticket has come up. So we'll bring in something like a technician. You could do accounting and simply customer service. So once we've completed the employees table, we can go across to interactions. Just one last thing, we can add another linked record because an interaction will be based on an employee that communicates with the customer. So an employee, once they go into interactions, they can make notes of the interaction or the communication that they had with the customer that submitted the ticket. So I can just go into this fields to display, and I'm going to bring in these two linked record fields that we had previously created in both the tickets and the employees table. Interactions is going to be a fairly simple table. We're just going to add something like notes here, and that's just going to be a text area field type and maybe the date of this communication. And the last thing is going to be another single select field type. We'll just call this type for type of communication, and it can be something like in person, call, or email. So anytime we have communication with a customer based off of a ticket or form submission, we can make notes in line here that's related back to the tickets so that whoever's looking after the problem or the submission can be up to date with what other employees or users have communicated and talked about with the customer. So the final thing I'm going to do is add an interaction ID, and this is simply going to be bring in the employee ID. We can bring in the ticket, and we can add the date that it was created. Now we have the entire solution built out. Now we can add some test data in here if we want. And the way that we're going to do that is we are going to create a form using Fillout Forms. So as I mentioned, basically what we're going to do is create a form with Fillout, and that's what we're going to embed on our website. And that way a customer can go on to our website and submit details as to what the issue is that's occurring or what their question is or something along those lines. This specific form could probably be created natively within the SmartSuite form solution, but because we may want to add some additional functionality down the road, we're going to build it out in Fillout because that will allow us to achieve different tasks depending on the exact setup that we're trying to build. So I will navigate over to Fillout. I'm going to create a new form. Again, if you do not have an account, there's a link in the description below. It'll take you right to Fillout to get started. So I'll click new form, click connect. I'm going to click this link here, and I will add just the plain theme, and I can call this ticket intake or whatever you want, really. So I'm going to go over to integrations, map this to SmartSuite demos. I already have my account authenticated, and click next here, and then I can search the name of my system. So it's just Customer Service Hub, and I want to submit this form data to my tickets table. So I'll add that, and I can click Finish Setup here, go back to Edit, and you can see down the left side, a lot of these fields are correlated to the tickets fields. So the fields that we want the customer or the user to submit to us are things like the type, the description, first name, last name, their address, email address, and phone number. Now we can easily drag and drop these any way we want to organize the form. Probably makes most sense to have the name at the top, followed by phone number and email address, and the actual physical address of the customer. So physical address could be optional depending on the actual type of issue that the customer is having, but simply billing or something along those lines, customer probably does not need to submit that information. But if it's something technical where a service tech needs to come out and visit their actual location, that's where it could become important. So I'll leave that at the top, have the type, and I will have the description in line here as well. Within Fillout, you got some flexibility here as to how it's designed. I can go over here, click Hat Width, same with the last name, and I can put them beside each other to simplify or create some custom elements of the form design. And we have different things we can turn things on to be required. So maybe first name and last name we want to be required, phone number needs to be required, and email address is required. We've already got the integration set up. Those fields have directly mapped back to SmartSuite. We have some settings. We don't need to do much there. We could go ahead and hit publish. I'm going to select preview, and I'm going to give this a test. So I will put in my name and phone number, and I will put in my email address, put in address and a zip code. Then we can select what the issue is, general, billing, technical. I'll select technical, and I will put furnace is not working. And we can see that the form has been submitted. Ending, we can go down here, simply turn off the confetti. We could put form has been received, or whatever you want it to read. We will be in touch soon. So now when the form gets submitted, this is the end screen that they can see. We could also have it redirect to your home web page, and there's other data that we could add in there as well, like a form response. So they could have it set up so that the response actually gets sent to the customer that submitted the form. So there's a lot of flexibility within Fillout that is not able to be set up within the SmartSuite Forms solution. So that's why I have a preference to Fillout Forms, because there's a lot that we can do. Again, like I said, in this specific use case, SmartSuite Forms probably was sufficient. So now if we go back to our SmartSuite solution here, we can see that a new record was created with my ticket submission. Now this part is moving into the communication for the customer. So it was fairly simple for the customer to submit that form to us. It's now instantly got added to our basically list of ongoing tickets. So it streamlines the process for us. Now that what we can do is we can easily set up an automation that sends the customer an email as well, saying that the ticket has been received and we will be assigning someone to it shortly. So we can go up here to our name drop down and then automations. We can create an automation and do something like when a record is created. And the condition can be as long as there is an email that exists. So as long as email is not empty, and we can just simply do send an email. So we'll just map the email address from the trigger. So this will be the one that was found within that record that was created, the customer provided to us. We can do ticket received and say something like, hi, select the first name, ticket has been received. We will assign to a staff member. And we can just add this automation. We'll name it up here first, notify customer of form received. Turn that on. So now when a form gets submitted to us and a record gets created here, the customer will receive an email stating that we have received the form. So that's just the first step to improving the customer communication process a bit. That way they know that we did receive their information and that we will be in touch soon. The next thing that I would like to add within the automations is, so now we're thinking of it as the customer service rep has access to this solution. And when the email comes in or that form gets submitted, they can get a notification. We could set it up so that it goes to their Slack channel if you guys use Slack, or just automatically send them an email so that they get notified that there has been a new ticket submitted to us. So we have a couple options. We could set it up so that within that automation we just built, we just add a separate task that sends an email to us. But I'm going to go in and create a new automation. So put notify customer service of new response or new form or whatever you want it to be. And again, we're going to do when a record is created in the tickets table. We're not going to have any conditions this time. So anytime a new record is created, we are going to notify our customer service rep, whoever manages that workflow. You can see here, there's an integration. You just go send message and it's pretty straightforward. I do not have Slack connected to this account, so I'm not going to go through that, but it's fairly simple. But what I am going to do is go back to the send an email, and then you can go here. You can type in the member or the customer service rep's email address directly here, or we can go down to Teams and select the Teams list, or we can select a specific user within our SmartSuite solution and workspace. I'm going to cancel this though, and I'm going to go back to the last thing, as we're going to create an automation so that once customer service has been notified, they come in here, they look at the issue, and they decide who they're going to assign this ticket to. If they just want to take it themselves, that's fine. They could go into here to interactions and make a note that they're going to look after it, or they could just call up or send an email to that customer. But you can essentially go in here and add that. So customer service rep linked to this ticket, spoke with Zach and solved the problem. Here, select the date that it was solved, and that's been completed. And then go back here and you can see that this ticket has been assigned to somebody. you can see that there's been an interaction, and you can quickly click into it to see what has actually happened. Again, with some other automation, you could set it up so that this task or this ticket has been completed, something along those lines. But the big thing I'm going to get into here is, so let's say the customer service person comes in, they view that there's a new ticket been submitted, and go in here and assign it to a specific employee, whoever needs to look after the task. So in this case, the furnace broke down, so we want to send our technician. So we can come in here, select the technician's name, and link that record. So now it's been assigned to the technician. Come up here to automations, and we're going to build an automation so that something happens once it's been assigned. Rename that assigned ticket. So when a record matches a condition, again, ticket section, and we will just look up the employee field. So when it is not empty, meaning that there's been somebody assigned to that field, we'll do a couple of things here. We're going to send an email, and this will just go to the customer, which we can just select here. Ticket has been assigned. Hi, first name, ticket has been assigned to, and then we can bring in the employee, and we'll click add automation and click back into it for a moment here. And the other thing that I wanted to do is actually send an email, or again, you could use Slack in this case. We're going to send an email to the employee. What I just noticed, there's one other field that we need to add. So if we go back to employees, we can see that we have the employee email here, but we need to bring that email address into the tickets table. So you can see here, we have the link to employees. So if I right click and use the lookup field type, I can select the link to employees, and I want to look up the employee email. I'll just rename this employee email and add that field. And now it's brought it in. So now if I go into the automations, go back to the assigned ticket and click send an email, I can use the field employee email, put ticket assigned. If we wanted, we could add some additional information from the ticket, or just use the ticket ID and say something like, you have been assigned a ticket, click here for more details. And we could pass in from the system fields the link to record. So that way the employee, whoever we assign it to, will get an email with a link where they can click it, and it'll take them directly to this record so that they can see where they have to go. They have the customer phone number, so they can call them and give them an update saying that they're working on it, or schedule the time that they're going to go out, something along those lines. But will greatly improve the communication across your company and to customers that have issues and problems going on. It's a very simple solution and system to be able to improve your communication with customers, but it does allow you to receive incoming support tickets and forms from customers. If they navigate to your website, if they call in, your customer service person can easily enter the details and information in line here so that it can streamline that communication across the different users and stakeholders within your company. As you saw, you can easily add an employee or assign them a task, and notifications get sent out to customers that the task is actually being received and assigned. And on the internal side of things, your employee can see the data that's relevant to them so that they can quickly and easily communicate with the customer. As you saw, you can do things like integrate with Slack to send internal messages that way. You can send outgoing emails both to your own employees and to customers. And if you wanted, you could integrate things like text message as well using the Twilio integration. Hopefully this was of some help to you. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. We can build all sorts of systems to fit your specific needs. Again, this is just a very high level solution to be able to get you started. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to get more tutorials in the future.